Hello and welcome to the first video for Team Exude Confidence. My name is Tom. My co-creator Tyler isn't here at the moment, but we'll get him in a video coming up very shortly here. We're both very excited for this channel. We've both been playing card games for quite a few years now. I myself have been playing Magic for over 10 years. Tyler's been playing Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon for quite a long time, but now our main focus is Flesh and Blood, and it's been a very exciting experience. I love the gameplay aspects of it, and the artwork is just amazing. So we're excited to see where it goes, especially with Tales of Aria spoilers coming out. It's been phenomenal just to see how they're doing the sets from now on, and I just want to be part of the community. So basically, we're going to be just starting off the first video here with a deck profile. I figured rather than doing some spoiler stuff, because there's enough of that kind of stuff out there, we'd just start going into some deck profiles and kind of giving everyone a little bit of how we play the game and how we like to have fun with it. So, first deck I'm going to show you is one that I have been really excited to play. It's one of my favorite decks, and that is Turtle Katsu, the Ninja Turtle deck. So this deck is a little unconventional just because you're going to be just straight blocking everything rather than your typical aggro Katsu that a lot of people are playing. I'm going to be just basically blocking as much damage as I can, keeping my life total right up close to 40, and just chipping you down by one every turn, one or two. So I got my sideboard over here, but otherwise I have the main 60 cards that I will be running in this deck. So let's start off with the equipment here. Going to be running two of the Harmonized Kodachis, very typical for Katsu. Helps you just the chip every turn, and with most of the cards in the deck being the zero cost, they're always going to have that go again, so I'm going to be able to attack with both of them, possibly even another attack in there. So those are going to be the weapons I run. For the arms piece, we're going to be running the breaking scales. These are nice because they have the battle worn, so you still get to block with it, get that one defense out of it, but then you're also threatening that attack reaction later game when you're throwing in that extra attack after the Kodachis. It's really nice just to be able to threaten that. For the chest piece, we're going to be running the Spring Tunic. It's the best chest piece for Katsu, I feel like. Once you get up to those three counters, you're always going to be having that threat of that one extra resource. Very helpful. The Mask of Momentum here is really nice. We aren't always going to be attacking with a lot. Most of the time, it's just the two Kodachi attacks, maybe an extra one, but it's going to make them want to block that third attack if we have one, just because they won't want us to get any card draw, or if they let us get that card draw, well, we're just drawing another card, hopefully getting another defense reaction just to help us block out the rest of whatever they're going to throw at us. The Snapdragon Scalers is probably the most threatening piece that we're going to have. So every turn, it's just going to be those two Kodachis, maybe that third attack. But if we do draw well, and we're getting those couple of attack actions in there, Kodachi, Kodachi, we're always going to have that just in case we can go a little bit wider. Most of the time we'll be blocking, but we like to switch up the tempo with this deck, and it's really fun to just block everything most of the game, but then that one turn you want to just hit them with 3, 4, 5 attacks, and it's really satisfying just to kind of have that mind game with them. So keeping those Snapdragon Scalers just always up and ready, just threatening them, is really going to mess with your opponent, and they're always going to have to respect it. So I do run the No Rune Gloves on the sideboard. That is going to be for the chain matchup or the Viscerai. If you do happen to see a Kano, obviously you're going to want to put that in. The Snapdragon Scaler, or sorry, the Breaking Scales are going to be easily enough just to swap out with that. So that's the only other equipment that I run on my sideboard. But then let's dive into the actual deck itself. So I do run a lot of defense reactions like I was talking about. I run 9 of the Flick Flacks here. This card is just amazing. You're always going to want to run 9. You're going to be able to block almost everything they throw at you. If need be, if you need to pitch it, you pitch those blues. Or If you have to discard it for Katsu, maybe get another piece to a combo line later on in the game, works great for that as well. And then I'm going to be running 3 red Fate for Scenes. These are going to be great for the 0 cost, block for 4. Same with the red Sink Belows, block for 4, 0 cost. Put any of these in your arsenal, and it's going to be great just to help you make sure that you maintain that life total right up around 40 damage. I do run the yellows for the Sink Belows as well. With these, they pitch for 2. You're able to attack with both Kodachis. They have the go again because it's a 0 cost. And I run these instead of the Fate for Scenes just because if you have that something else in your hand that isn't really going to help you block, or maybe just doesn't help very well for your next turn when you're going to be attacking with your Kodachis, drop something to the bottom of your deck, hopefully draw something better off the top. It's just really good for that over the Fate for Scenes getting the opt one. So that's why I run the yellows in here. And then I am running the unmovables. There are a decent amount of blue cards in the deck. So being able to play this for 3 is going to be pretty easy to do, and it's going to be very efficient, especially if you get it in your arsenal. You know, if you play it from your arsenal, you're getting that extra 1 defense, so it's blocking for 8, making sure that you can block any of those big attacks that either have dominate or just any of the big attacks. I mean, if you're playing Guardian, Brute, you're playing the Prism with the Phantasmaclasms, you're going to be able to just jam this down in front of them, and their big attack is just going to be stopped right in its tracks. Very satisfying to do. Another one that I kind of put in with the defense reactions is the Sigil of Solace. It is the instant, but this is just another key part to the deck to making sure that you can keep your life total as close to 40 as possible. So the whole point of the deck is you're going to be blocking as much as possible and just chipping away with your Kodachis every turn. So the sigils are going to effectively give us 9 more health for the game because with how much we're blocking, most of the time this deck is going to go to fatigue. So we're both going to be getting through our whole decks, which if I get all 3 of my Sigil of Solaces, that's 9 extra life that I have. I'm going to be sitting at 49 life basically with this. So this is a card that I will always run in this deck. I do run the Command and Conquers and the Enlightened Strikes. Both of these are great cards for this deck. Command and Conquer is going to be one that you're always just going to run. It goes in almost every deck. Pretty self-explanatory. Great card. You pitch a blue, you attack with your 2 Kodachis, you have that 1 floating. If you have the 3 counters on your Tunic, pop that, come in with a Command and Conquer. Really nice to either get some cards out of their hand or blow up their arsenal if they have one. The Enlightened Strikes on the opposite hand, if you don't have the Tunic resources, it's really nice to just come in with the Enlightened Strike after the Kodachis. Put a card on the bottom of your deck, come in for 7 with that. Just 1, 1, 7. Great for switching up the tempo. Because most of the time, like I said, you're coming in with the 2 Kodachis and maybe like a 3 or 4 attack after that. But if you come in with that 7, it's really just that kind of slap in the face of being like, yeah, I mostly defend, but I have a 7 attack. I have a couple big attacks that I'll throw at you every once in a while. So those 2, I do run 3 ofs. And then I do have the 3 red Razor Reflexes. This is another one that is amazing with the Fyendal Spring Tunic. Have that 1 resource on the Tunic, and you're just able to threaten with this, especially late game. Effectively, late game, every Kodachi you swing, they have to respect that it could be 4 damage. So if you get them under 10 life, they have to remember that you have that, and it could potentially kill them, or you're just going to get more cards out of their hand and just be able to keep that tempo in your side of the field. So I do run 3 of those. I almost never take them out. It's just too good at this point in time. Then moving on to some more attack actions. I have the Soul Bead Strikes. I run 3 red and 3 blue. The 3 blue are mainly going to be for my pitching, just to make sure that I can attack with those Kodachis. But then the reds are great because they are 4 attack, and if it hits, gains go again. So you Kodachi, come in with a red Soul Bead Strike. It's got that 4 damage, so it's right over that breaking point, and it's just going to threaten them with that go again. Most of the time we won't be coming in with anything extra, but you're going to play around with their mind just to make sure that we might be coming in with more. They never really know. And that's why I like to switch up the tempo of, you know, attacking with the two Kodachis, passing turn, blocking everything they have. Next turn, I'll attack with two Kodachis, maybe two more attacks, or a big attack. They never really know what you're going to throw at them. So this is great to kind of get in their head. And then this kind of goes straight into the crane dance here, because if you end up having to play the Soul Bead Strike, then you can play the crane dance right on top of it. Gets the combo, gets the go again, gets that little extra damage in there. Like I said, we're trying to just kind of chip them down ones and twos every turn, and then when we get the cards, maybe throw in a 4 or 5 attack in there. So crane dance most of the time will be pitched, but it's great for those late game when most of your deck is going to be blue. The stuff you pitch, put to the bottom. Once you get back around, you're going to be attacking a lot more. And then I do run the 3 Exude Confidence. Obviously, since we're Team Exude Confidence, this is one of Tyler's favorite cards, and it's really been growing on me. And especially with this deck, it is really good because it costs the 0 and it's coming in for 4. Kodachi, come in for 4, and if you need to, pitch a blue, pump it up an extra 2. It's just a great card for this deck, and I'm absolutely loving it. Every time I play it, I feel like it is very effective to play. And then I do run 3 red Torrent of Tempos. This is another one of those, just like Soulbead Strike. It's going to come in for 5 and threaten that go again. So you're going to be able to jam this down, and people are going to look at it like, okay, well, do I block all of it? Do I need to block all of it, or can I let some of it hit? And it really is just one of those that's you're going to be able to play, throw that 5 damage. You're either hitting with it and being able to go again, or you're getting cards out of their hand. So either way, it's effective for us. Then I play the 3 Salt the Wounds. This one is still really good because it is pitching for 2. So I'm going to be able to attack with both my Kodachis. And if I do need to end up playing it, well, it's going to come in for 2, and then it gets an extra attack for every attack that's hit this combat chain. So especially early on, when people are just letting those Kodachi strikes come in, they're going to take 1 for each of them. Well, now you throw this down as the 3rd attack, it's coming in for 4, for 0. Works really well. Most of the time you'll end up just pitching it, but when you need it, it works very well. And then next I got the Fluster Fist here. This is another one, same kind of thing. You're going to be pitching it most of the time, and it's going to give those Kodachis go again. But you can also discard it for Katsu, get the extra pieces for your combo line, which would be the Fine Center here. But most of the time, you're just pitching it. And then going right into Fine Center is perfect for Crane Dance and Soulbead Strike. Those turns when you actually are going to go a little bit wide, you're switching up the tempo. You're like, no, this turn I'm actually going to do some damage, throw them off a little bit. Well, you hit with the Soul Bead Strike, you throw the Crane Dance down, discard something to Katsu, find this Fine Center, and you're going to be able to push that in because at that point, this is number 5 on the combat chain. So they aren't going to be able to block with anything that's less than 5 resource cost, which is pretty much everything. So you're going to sneak the 2 damage in on them, and you're going to create that Zen State token, which is going to give you even more defense, which is the whole point of the deck. So it's a win-win with this card. You either pitch it if you need to, or you're able to actually play it. You get the damage in, and you get the defense out of it. So that is another card I would say is a staple for this deck. Last in the deck here, I have Snags. I originally had this as a sideboard piece that I would sideboard in for Chain. Snag is that you need to play it against Chain. You need to make sure those red Rift Binds aren't coming at you for 10, 11, 12 damage. So I originally had this for him, but after seeing all the Tales of Aria spoilers, I feel like a lot of those fuse cards are buffing their attacks. So I feel like this card is now kind of a staple. It has to go in here. You're able to pitch it if you need it, but when you actually need it, it's going to work against a lot of the new decks along with Chain. So I'm putting it in here. I'm going to play it, once I've been playing with the Tales of Aria heroes a little bit more. If I decide that it's not necessary, I'll probably sideboard it, but for right now, we're going to try it out. And so then let's go on to our sideboard here and what we have and who we play them against. So I run the Chains of Eminence, Nourishing Emptiness, Heron's Flight, and Plunder runs. So Chains of Eminence, this one is going to be one that I'm going to sideboard in for Chain, number one, boogeyman of the meta right now. So I need to look at what I can use against him. So this whole deck works really well against him already, trying to make sure that he just runs out of cards by just blocking everything that he has. But Chains of Eminence is great against him just because you can, if you see anything in his banish zone, if he leaves anything in there, you can play this and know that he can't play that. You can pick Seeds of Agony, you can pick those red Rift Binds, well, just Rift Binds in general. That way it's stopping his really big go wide turns that Chain likes to do. So this card is great for him. Another really good one that you can name, Carrion Husk. You get him down to 15, 16 life. You put down Chains of Agony, or sorry, Chains of Eminence, and you pick Carrion Husk. He can't block with it, and then you come in with some attacks. So now he either has to block with a bunch of things from his hand so he doesn't lose his Carrion Husk, or he lets it through, you get him under the 13, now that Carrion Husk is gone. So you're basically getting the 6 defense equipment out from him, or you're getting cards out of his hand. So win-win with him. Other decks that I would play this in, or put this in if I was playing against, it's you really have to know your matchups. You kind of have to know what their main point of the deck is, what their big heavy hitters are, and put this in. Like if I was playing Dorinthia, I would probably pick Rout. Rout is a huge one that's just devastating late game, especially against this deck. You're going to be playing your big defense reactions. If you play an Unmovable and then she plays a Rout and tosses that back to your hand, if you don't have a blue, you're not going to be able to play it, and you're just going to take a bunch of damage, which whole point of this deck, not taking damage. So Chains of Eminence is good against Dorinthia, and if you're going to run this, I'd say just try to know your matchups, try to know at least what you should be calling out when you do play it. Moving on, I do have the Nourishing Emptinesses. This is for Prism. This is going to be for those big phantasm creatures. You're going to want to put this in just so you can try and pop them as much as possible. Or you can use it just like Command and Conquer. You have that extra floating resource on Tunic. Throw this down after your Kodachis. You attack for 1, attack for 1, attack for 6. Works for that as well. But otherwise, I mainly just use it to try and pop Phantasm. Then I put Heron's Flight in here. This one is another one of those that I'm going to put in for Chain or someone that I'm going to want to race. So this is going to be great for the combo line of Soulbead Strike and then Crane Dance. This is going to get that extra damage in there. If you get everything, if you hit with all those and then you come in with the Heron's Flight, it's coming in for 5, and then you get to choose attack or non-attack, and can only be defended by cards of the chosen type. So you're hopefully going to be able to just push in some more damage while still blocking out a lot of what they're throwing at you. So this is one that I will put in against Chain. Anyone that is very aggro, that is just going to kind of race you, this is one I'm going to put in for that. Same with the red Plunder runs. This is a really good card for racing if you want, or if you have one of those really big go wide turns, if you happen to get a bunch of really good cards in your hand for that. It's allowing you to get that extra card draw, or just making it so they have to block whatever you're throwing down. And if you can get it in your arsenal, play it from arsenal, give your next attack +3, that's really big as well. You play that on a Command and Conquer, You come in for 9 with a Command and Conquer, very satisfying. So I put that in, like I said, against Chain, sometimes Dorinthia. If there's like an aggro dash, I'll play it against them as well. Rhinar is another one that I play this with because a lot of times I feel like Rhinar players just aren't going to be blocking. They're gonna end up just trying to hit you for as much as possible, so they're gonna save their cards for their turn. So, but that is Ninja Turtle Katsu, and I feel like this deck is just extremely fun to play. It is really fun just to hit them every turn with the 2 Kodachis and just watch the life drain from your opponent's eyes as you hit them for 1 damage twice. Once it gets down to the end of the game, you can just tell that they are so sick of hearing that chip, chip. So it is a very fun deck. May not be the best in the meta, but I feel like it is the most fun that I've had with the deck so far. So I would suggest trying it out. It's one of those that is just extremely fun. So hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any comments on the deck or think that I'm doing something wrong or have better ideas for it, let me know in the comments. I mean, I love theory crafting, so I try to theory craft as much as possible and would love to hear other opinions on it. So, thanks for watching, everybody, and we will get back to you soon.